Hi, my name is Robert Chelle with Chelle Law, and my law firm assists dental associates with employment contract and independent contractor agreement issues. Today I'm going to talk about the number one reason why a dental associate would be terminated from a practice. So let's say you're a dental associate and you're looking at multiple jobs. There are some, important things to identify prior to taking a job, which will hopefully avoid being terminated in the first place. And so the number one reason why dental associates are terminated is lack of productivity. So when you are identifying potential positions, there are a number of questions that you need to ask before you sign a contract, which will help, help the dental associate avoid any kind of termination for productivity issues. So the first question I would ask is, how does the practice measure productivity? So obviously many dental practices pay a daily rate, and it has nothing to do with productivity. There's no volume expectations. There's nothing that's provided in the contract that states this is what we expect, on a productivity level for the dental associate. So you need to ask, how does the practice measure productivity, and what is the expectation for a dental associate? Even somebody who's just working, maybe you're working PRN, or you're not working full time with the practice, or even if you are, if you're given a daily rate, how does the practice decide what is considered a productive day for the average dental associate in my position? And so really there's two ways that most dental practices kind of calculate productivity. One is the net collections of the dentist personally performed services. So what are net collections? What the practice actually receives based upon the duties performed by that dentist. So obviously you can have some procedures that are completely self-pay in a dental practice, and then you can also have insurance work as well. And so usually if you're with a practice for, let's just say, 3 to 6 months, at that point you'll kind of level off and you'll know how much the practice is collecting on your behalf based upon the services that you perform. So that's one way of determining productivity. The second would be encounters per day, which is, I would consider, relatively rare, but some practices do this. And so it's just simply, how many patients are you seeing in a day, what types of procedures you're doing, how many starts you have, perhaps if you're in orthodontics or something like that. That's another way that people or dental practices will calculate productivity. So you need to ask, how do you calculate productivity, and then what the productivity expectations are going in. Now, once you know that, you also need to ask a number of other questions, because there are factors outside of the dental associate's control which could really affect what their productivity is. And so what are some of those factors? Well, one, is the volume there in the first place? Is the practice, good at marketing? Is the patient base there to sustain your work? That's number one. Two, is the practice efficient in rooming? Do they have enough hygienists, dental assistants? Is the support staff in place that can allow the dentist to do dentist type work and not non-dentist work, if that makes sense? So you need to ask, all right, is there a volume need for me? And then is the practice efficient in rooming and cleaning and all that kind of stuff, so that you can see as many patients as you can, obviously safely, in a day. These are not unreasonable questions to ask. If someone is offended by these questions, then this is probably not an employer that you want to work for in the first place. These are just normal questions that anyone who is interviewing for a job or entertaining multiple positions should ask, so that you feel comfortable entering a position and knowing that you're going to be set up for success, not failure. It honestly is pretty rare that a dental associate would be terminated and it's 100% their fault. It just doesn't happen where someone will come into a new job and they're just so slow and unproductive that they would ultimately be terminated. It just doesn't happen. Most of those people are, they're weeded out either they just can't get through dental school, or at the very beginning of their career, it's just clear they're not going to make it because they're so slow. It's very rare for that to happen. So it's usually a combination of there's not enough, excuse me, when there are problems that could lead to a termination of a dental associate. It's the combination of there aren't enough patients, the practice is inefficient, maybe they haven't trained the dental associate properly. You can avoid these types of negative situations by simply asking a few questions up front. So anyway, hopefully that's helpful. If you have any questions about your dental associate employment or independent contractor agreement, feel free to contact my law firm at the phone number or website listed below in the description. And hopefully this video was helpful. All right, appreciate you watching the video. Take care.